What's up, you guys? It's Chris here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can increase your credit score even if you have no credit history. And I was recently asked this question by Joe Jeans. Now, I'm just summarizing, but he said, I have no missed payments, I have no debt, no mortgage, no car payment, I don't owe anything, and I have a credit score of 653. What should I do? Look, the truth is, to enjoy the benefits of a good credit score, like getting approved for any credit card or loan that you want, getting insanely high credit card limits, and to avoid security deposits on utilities, to get those things, you first need to have a credit history, which I agree is totally backwards, but it is possible. Credit card use is not something taught in schools, and with credit becoming the new dollar, having control of your credit is important now more than ever. All I ask in return is that as I show you these 5 ways, is that you smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. So with that said, let's get into the video. So tip number 1 is to prove your credit worthiness. In a nutshell, a credit score is a measure of how responsible you are with money that doesn't belong to you. So to have a higher credit score, you need to have a lot of credit cards. So don't be shy, go and apply for at least 3 or 4 cards, and don't worry about the hard pull on your credit. Even though this will make your credit score go down a little bit, pulls on your credit tend to bounce back within a few months. With these first cards, also shy away from cards that have annual fees, or at least for now. Annual fees only make sense when you are getting more value than what you are paying. And right now, your goal is not to earn points or rewards or anything like that. It's to build your credit. Once you have a few credit cards, use them to create online accounts with the issuer so that you can monitor them, and then consider hiding or even destroying them so that you do not have the cards on you all the time. But don't destroy all of them. Be sure to keep one unsecured card on you for spending and emergencies, but that's it. Notice that I said unsecured cards and not secured cards. Secured credit cards are cards that you need to put down a deposit in order to use them. Secured cards should really be a last resort if you are constantly getting denied by credit card companies. Now, most people, even with really bad credit, can still qualify for unsecured cards. Look for places like your local bank where your checking and savings accounts are, or places like Capital One and Citibank. You won't be able to get premium cards early on that comes with the great perks, but you will be able to at least start to establish your credit and prove your worthiness. The number 2 tip is to pay before it cuts. The absolute highest consideration of your credit history is your credit card utilization. Credit card utilization is the amount of credit that you have available to you versus how much you're actually using. So if you only have one credit card with $1,000 credit limit and you bought something for $200, your credit utilization is 20%. Never ever have a credit card where the credit utilization is more than 20%. Once these credit bureaus see that you are using more and more of your credit, they will start to see you as a more riskier borrower. The good news is that credit utilization spans across all of your credit cards. So if you had 4 credit cards that all had $1,000 limits, your total credit is $4,000. And if you went out and made that same $200 purchase, your credit utilization would only be 5%. Which is excellent. A way to keep your credit utilization as low as possible is to always pay your balances before the statement cuts, or pay before it cuts. There is a very bad rumor out there that says that you should carry a balance on your card to show that you can pay off the card after carrying that in a balance, which is totally wrong. If you carry a balance, you are forced to pay interest on that balance. Never pay credit card interest. Ever. It is a sin. You should be allergic to paying credit card interest. Just don't do it. So if your statement cuts on the 15th of each month, see what your balance is and pay it off on the 10th. This way, when the statement cuts, the credit card company will report to the credit bureaus that your credit utilization is 0. This does require that you are responsible and never spend more money than you actually have in cash so that you can pay it off before the end of the statement cycle. I look at my credit card as an extension of my checking account. If I have $500 in my checking account, I'm not going to charge any more than $500 to the credit card. So I always pay off the card and pay it before the statement cuts. The number 3 tip is to keep on the watch. You would no doubt agree that it would be very hard to pay off a card or a loan if you didn't know that it existed. And because of this, every year you should go to freecreditreport.com and pull your credit from all 3 credit bureaus. This includes Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. This report will tell you what loans you have on your credit report. I pull mine every year in January for free. And what you want to look for is any loans or credit cards that you don't recognize. Throughout the year, it is possible that you could have your own identity stolen. And having your identity stolen is never a good thing. However, once you know about it, at least you can do something about it. Contact the issuer of that loan and find out what the next steps are. Keep in mind, by pulling your full credit report, this is not going to show you your credit score. This is just a report. If you want an actual score, you need to go to places like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame. The scores here are not insanely accurate, but they will give you a very good idea where your credit stands at the moment. These places also offer free credit monitoring, and they will email you if a credit line or new loan is established on your report. And this is very, very helpful with catching things early on before they get out of hand. To really help your credit score, you need to take control of your credit score and watch it like a hawk. I try not to be too obsessed about it, but I do check it at least 2 or 3 times a week. Tip number 4 is to always pay on time. Another high consideration in determining your credit score is whether or not you are paying back what you borrow in a timely fashion. Unfortunately, there are too many people in this world who will borrow money with the intention of not paying it back. If you want a good credit score, you need to avoid this type of thinking. If you go through a little temporary insanity and charge up a lot of money on your card, it is to your best interest. Pay it off as soon as possible. Make yourself feel the hurt of spending so much money. That is the only way that you can stop yourself from doing it again. The inherent problem with irresponsible people and credit cards is that when they charge too much, they don't feel the hurt and just say, oh, I'll just pay it next month. Do not buy things that you cannot afford. One of my favorite sayings from Jaspreet Singh over at the Minority Mindset is that if you can't afford 5 of them, you can't afford 1 of them. Practicing that thinking will help you not overspend. And if you don't overspend, it will allow you to pay off your credit cards on time. Now, if you are late paying your credit cards, this is a red flag to credit bureaus that you are not trustworthy. A single missed payment can stay on your credit history for as long as 7 years. But don't worry, it's not all bad. If you miss a payment, you still have 30 days or so before the credit card company reports you to the credit bureaus. So if your credit card payment is due on the 15th and you forget to pay it, if you paid it on the 20th, you would avoid them reporting you to the credit bureaus. The credit card issuer may try to charge you a late fee, and this is usually around $39 or so. A little known trick is that if you do not do this very often, you can argue with the issuer and have them reverse the fee as long as you make the payment. But a way to avoid this is to set up an automatic payment to at least make the minimum payment from your bank account on the day before the last day of your cycle. This way, even in the event that you forget to pay it, a debit will automatically come out paying the card, keeping you in good standing. And tip number 5 is piggybacking. Piggybacking is finding a friend or a family member that trusts you enough and having them add you as an authorized user on their card. Being an authorized user on a card is just as good as having the credit card yourself. You typically can benefit from all of the bells and whistles of having the card as well. But most importantly, when you become an authorized user, that credit card appears on your credit report. This is huge, as you do not have to pass any type of credit checks in order to get the card. You just have to convince someone that has good credit to give you the credit card. So this would need to be someone who's responsible and who monitors their own credit regularly. And since this card is tied to someone you know, it may help you be more responsible with it as well. Because if you mess it up, you're not just messing up your credit, you're messing up the credit of your friend as well. Now, the practice of piggybacking, I would really only use as a last resort if you are having a hard time establishing credit. To add someone as an authorized user, you need to find someone willing to add you as an authorized user on their card. Have them call their credit card issuer and request to have you added as an authorized user. They will send you a credit card with your name on it and you'll be good to go. Some credit cards that have annual fees require an additional annual fee for an authorized user. So before you jump into piggybacking, confirm whether or not you will need to pay any additional fees just to have the card. This is also a great way to jumpstart your credit history, especially if you have zero credit or bad credit. The hardest part is finding someone to trust you enough to add you to their account. Now, even after people have followed these 5 ways, I still have some come to me saying that their credit score is not improving. And 90% of the time, they have not allowed enough time to pass. There are a lot of factors that go into determining your credit score, and the age of your credit history does play an important role. If you previously had no credit credit card history whatsoever, and then you follow tip number 1 and apply for 3 or 4 cards, the age of your credit is going to be 0. Remember that your credit score is derived from how much credit you have available to you to spend, but you have shown some self-control not to spend it. It's kind of like having your favorite dessert in the house, but you are eating it only one bite at a time. The longer you let your dessert sit or your credit history sit, the more self-control you prove to have. And as a result, your credit score will go up. If you have derogatory marks on your credit, such as missed payments, liens, or bankruptcies, then the farther removed you get from those black marks, the better your credit will get. So again, it takes time. I have found that some of these marks on your credit can last anywhere from 2 to 10 years. So be patient. If you follow step number 3 while monitoring your credit, you can write a letter to your credit bureaus and ask them to have derogatory remarks moved that you feel are not legitimate. So there you have my 5 ways to increase your credit score. Always remember that these credit bureaus do not just hand out excellent credit scores. You need to work and be responsible. By doing so, you will enjoy the many benefits that come from having a good credit score. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe. We post new videos every Mondays and Thursdays. Also follow me on Instagram. I post there pretty much daily and would love to connect with you there as well. Be sure to stay tuned for the bloopers, and I will catch you all later. This is like your local bank where you're let's do this. Yeah. 1 banana, 2 banana. This is how I warm up, by the way. Gotta have that energy. Didn't have any coffee this morning, so I still gotta bring the energy.